Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to Logical Republican. Thank you again for stopping in today. If you like what you see, like what you hear, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button so you get alerted when I post new stuff. And also, if you want to share this with a friend or a foe, please do. Now, this is a controversial topic, and it's not necessarily political, but it's just human, okay? Homelessness, all right? Now, we bemoan all of the homeless people here, all of the homeless people there. And what is the solution, right? We don't really have a solution. Everybody wants to kick things out. We spend all of this money on programs that do absolutely nothing except keep the consultants employed. But here is where it gets kind of nasty, I guess, right? The United States Supreme Court ruled last week on Grant Pass versus Johnson, okay? I don't know if you've been following the news or you even know what this is. Now, most people don't even have a clue exactly what this case entailed or have even heard about it. Now, what it is in a nutshell is it lets municipalities, cities, towns, counties, whatever, turn homelessness into a crime, right? People can get a ticket or a fine or jail time for sleeping in a public place, right? On a park bench or a sidewalk, even in your car. If you're sleeping in your car, they can cite you, okay? If you have nowhere to go and you pull over or you're parked somewhere and you're sleeping in your car, they can give you a ticket, they can arrest you, they can do whatever, right? If the cop is being just a total dick, they can throw you in the slammer for sleeping in your car or on a park bench because you've got nowhere to go. Now, as someone, me personally, who has not had a place to lay my head at one point in my life, I really don't understand the underlying rationale behind this ruling. I mean, I kind of get it. You know, on one side, I get the criminal element homeless issues, right? If you look at, areas of Los Angeles or San Francisco on the West Coast, there's a huge homeless problem, right? And a lot of these people are committing crimes to fuel their drug habit, right? It's drug use, drug abuse, or addiction. So they're doing smash and grabs, they're breaking car windows, they're pickpocketing, well, probably not pickpocketing because they're not stable enough to do that, but snatching purses, robbing liquor stores, whatever it is, just to get a few bucks so they can get their next hit, okay? Now, most communities can do without this type of person. But what is the underlying issue, right? It is the drug problem, it is the fentanyl problem, it is the overall availability of all of these things that keep people addicted. All right. Now, in today's environment, it seems the vast majority of these homeless people are addicted to some sort of substance, whether it's something you smoke, something you shoot up, or something you drink. It's illegal or not, right? I mean, I don't know what a bottle of Ripple costs these days, but it's probably not too expensive. And I'm talking about like the fortified wine that people drink to get drunk to whatever, because they're alcoholics. So getting these people to move on and move out is understandable. But where the hell are they going to go? And how the hell are they going to get there, right? If you're in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco, where are you going to go? You're not going to go to Pacific Heights or Seacliff. There's nowhere for you to go. It's impossible. You've got no money. You've got no place to go. And, oh, by the way, the city of San Francisco is giving you money. Yes, the city of San Francisco gives homeless people money so they can buy drugs. They give them needles so they can shoot up, and they give them a shooting gallery so they can shoot up with the needles they provide using the money they provide to buy the drugs, which are all over the place. Anyways, that's fodder for another day. But the flip side is there are a lot of homeless people that are good people. They've hit hard times for one reason or another. They lose their job, they get sick, they're unable to pay the rent or the bills. It happens to good people. As the saying goes, bad things can happen to good people. So very true. Now, Do you want to give these good people who maybe lost their job, they got laid off or something, and they were living literally paycheck to paycheck, and now they're sleeping in their car? Do you want to give them a police record, a criminal record for doing something that was just basically bad luck? I mean, that really, really sucks. And then think about this too, right? Well, somebody begging for money. Hey, can you spare a couple bucks? Hey, man, go find a job. Go get a job. McDonald's is hiring. Okay, true, and true. I get that. But to find a job, you oftentimes need a permanent address to call your own. You have to put something on the job application, right? You can't put cardboard box under freeway overpass as my address. It doesn't quite work that way, okay? So unless there is a good Samaritan out there willing to help out maybe one individual with a pillow and a porch and an address, you're oftentimes hosed. You're not going to get a job at Starbucks if you don't have an address and you're not clean. Ain't going to happen, right? And then it's 2 weeks until you get a paycheck. And then if you don't have a bank account, how the heck are you going to cash the check? So it's all of these issues that are just lobbed on top of each other, that there's really nobody out there coming up with a solution, okay? But let's dive into the root cause of where all this comes from. And root cause is something politicians rarely do. Okay, root cause is something where when there's a disaster or a bridge collapses or something, they send out root cause analysis people to actually dive deep into what caused this, right? Where was the deterioration? Where was the failure? Where was the whatever that caused this to break, to fall, to blow up, to whatever? But root cause to this issue, the homeless issue, there are many root causes, but there are really only a couple of big main ones, right? We can blame, I don't know, inflation, or we can blame unscrupulous landlords for kicking out people that don't pay their rent. Well, last time I checked, landlords do have to pay a mortgage and they do have bills to pay, so having a deadbeat tenant does not go very far in paying their own bill, so they have to do something. Or hey, let's blame Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the great scapegoat. Everything is his fault, so let's blame it on him. Well, maybe 2 out of 3 in this case, right? But let's move on. It's fentanyl, it's heroin, it's meth, it's drugs. What is the common denominator out of probably 95% of the homeless people in this country today? It is more than likely drugs. Where the hell are they coming from? How are they getting into our communities? And why isn't anybody stopping it? Hey, good question. Well, the war on drugs failed, they say. Okay, so they stopped. Okay? Way too many convicted black and brown people doing time for selling drugs. Oh, no. It was a losing proposition, one we could never win, they say. The war on drugs, just bad theater. Our prisons are filled with non-violent people who sold drugs. Let them out. Dealers are in a hopeless situation, just trying to get by, they say. We're just trying to survive. We're just trying to get paid. We're trying to get that bag. I got to support my kids. Got to support something, right? Well, all of the above can be true. And the question is why? Okay? People in general use drugs as a way to escape. The wealthy, okay, if I'm a Wall Street broker, I'm wealthy and I indulge in drugs. It's the more expensive kind. It's the whatever Coke or whatever. And I can do it behind closed doors in my penthouse condo. Whereas the homeless people are out there in the open. They're shooting up in alleys or gas station bathrooms, right? They're doing it out there where people can see. There are open air drug markets in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco, on Skid Row in Los Angeles. My God, it's everywhere. Nobody's stopping it. Drug smuggling and dealing is a cat and mouse game with law enforcement and will never be fully eradicated. Never is, right? However, knowing who is coming into our country and securing our southern borders would be a good start in slowing down the flow of cocaine coming from Central and South America and fentanyl manufactured in Mexico or in China arriving from China in Mexican ports. I'm not saying it's going to stop everything. Sure, stuff is going to get through on trucks, and there's always creative ways to get it into the country, but slow it down a little bit at least. Give us a fighting chance, okay? But here's where I get draconian. And I don't mean draconian like the Supreme Court of just a blanket statement where Joe Jerk Cop can, give me a ticket if I'm sleeping in my car and I don't have a permanent address, okay? But here's where the ACLU would hate me. So instead of fining, ticketing, or jailing homeless people, determine if they are indeed addicted to some sort of substance and then mandate rehabilitation. Mandate a program for them. No negotiation. No. You're going to rehab, and then you're going to go to job training if you don't have any skills or a trade. You're going to get cleaned up, and you're going to get ready for society. Like it or not, or then, yes, you will go to jail, and you will clean up in jail, and then the process starts all over again when they're released, okay? But there are always jobs if you really, really want one. Okay? People say, oh, there's no jobs. No, it's just a job that you're just too above to take, right? You don't want to take that crappy job. You don't want to, put fries into a vat of oil at McDonald's. You don't want to do that because that job is below you. But there are always jobs if you really want one. Yes. Now, illegal immigrants, do you think they would honestly be coming here if there wasn't something for them to make money and send it on back to their country? Our kitchens in restaurants, pretty much every kitchen in every restaurant in America has illegals back there. All right? They're getting paid under the table. You need somebody to pick our fruit. You need somebody to pick this, somebody to do that. I'm not being racist here. It's being real. Okay? What are the illegal immigrants coming here to do? They're coming here to do the crap jobs that lazy ass Americans, a lot of them on drugs, or welfare, just don't want to do. But you go to rehab, you get training, you get a job, or you will go to jail. Draconian or not, that is part of the solution. It won't fix everything, but it is part of the solution. Cities like San Francisco spend hundreds of millions of dollars every stinking year. Last year in 2023, it was somewhere in the range of $300 million spent on the San Francisco City and County Homeless Program. Roughly $40,000 per person spent, and it's done nothing. Zero, except keep people employed, right? What do? All it does, it attracts more people. Most of the homeless people in San Francisco aren't from San Francisco. They're from somewhere else. They've migrated there because there's programs or there's drugs or whatever. It's not like you've got 10,000 people that suddenly lost their place and are now living on a sidewalk or staying in a shelter. No, there are some, but the vast majority are not from San Francisco, and I'm sure I'm going to get an argument from that. But they're people that come looking for free stuff. Yep. There will never be enough beds in San Francisco to house all the homeless people. Never, never, never. There's just not enough room. Okay? It's a peninsula. There's no new construction in San Francisco. Very little. Okay? And what is new, it's usually going to be a skyscraper or a condo tower or something like that. It is not going to be a place to house the homeless. Ain't going to happen. And even if it did, they're still going to go on their merry way of doing drugs, and they're going to destroy whatever they got for free. It's just human nature. They're not going to be fixed. But where the hell does all the money go? All right? I'm talking to you, San Francisco. I'm talking to you, Seattle. I'm talking to you, Portland. I'm talking to you, Los Angeles. Where the hell does all the money go? Oh, we have outreach counselors and consultants. And then we've got some flea bag hotels that we're able to house a few dozen or a few hundred people. That does not solve the problem. Most of them are sleeping on piss-stained sidewalks. That is the reality of the whole thing. It's an endless flow of wasted taxpayer dollars on an unsolvable problem as it currently stands. There is no solution. It will take forgive my French here, it will take a real asshole to do the right thing. Actually, a bunch of them, but not necessarily like the Supreme Court decision, which I think was just horrible. But using that as the stick to get them to take the carrot. Okay? Liberals still blame Ronald Reagan for cutting funds to mental hospitals in California nearly 60 years ago. Oh, it was Reagan who started this whole thing. And it was the Reagan presidency. Dude, Reagan hasn't been president for almost 40 years. Get over it, okay? The liberals had 8 years of Clinton. They had 8 years of Obama. They've had 4 years of Biden. If they really wanted to do things, they sure as hell could have done it by now, but they haven't. They just pander to communities every 4 years and do nothing in the other part. But it's current policy that does nothing except make everyone feel good because they write a check to community organizers and activists who do nothing, because if they did succeed, think about this, if the homeless advocates did succeed, they'd be unemployed themselves. So nothing happens. It's a vicious cycle. And mostly, and I said mostly, who are these people that are living on the street? It's mostly undereducated people from broken homes with no direction. They get caught up in crime and drugs and they can't right the ship. One thing happens and then another, and then they're in jail, and all of a sudden they have a glass pipe in a tent on a sidewalk. Arresting someone for the crime of having nowhere to go is not the solution. Flat out. Okay? There has to be some tough love attached to whatever solutions are lobbed back and forth. But it can't be this liberal kumbaya group hug. These people are victims, blah, 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 coddling themselves. No, we have to use a stick. But a stick by itself does not work. That said, too many choices equal no choice at all. So we need a clear business plan and a test case. Grants Pass, Oregon is not the petri dish that we need. Sorry, it has to be a Los Angeles type place of location. Big, right? Someplace where we can make an actual dent and get those 50,000 people or whatever the heck it is living on Skid Row back to being productive again or clean or whatever, instead of wandering around like a bunch of zombies. This has lingered in LA for decades. Mayor after mayor after mayor who have done nothing except maybe become the ambassador to India. So, but where is that knight in shining armor? I mean, it sure as hell obviously isn't me, because I can't write a check and I can't really do anything. But, you know, somebody like a Steve Ballmer, okay? He owns the LA Clippers. Somebody like that, who has the funds to do it, has the business sense to write a business plan, has the knowledge of how to have oversight on a budget and make sure that there's minimal waste, right? Get the mayor and the city council to buy in and get to work. Okay? Where is that knight in shining armor? Steve Ballmer, if you're listening and you're watching, I'm challenging you, okay? Let's do something here. But clearly pouring billions down the drain with no accountability has only benefited those running the programs, the outreach counselors, the community organizers, and all of that. There is a solution out there to the homeless problem. It is not the Supreme Court Grant Pass versus Johnson. Clearly. Okay. If you like what you see, like what you hear, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you will. Share with a friend. This is a non-political thing, so you really won't piss anybody off on either side of the aisle. This is more human interest than anything else. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. See ya.